Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Down the Rabbit Hutch from the Off My Chest subreddit and says, I think my partner is proposing today. I know we're used to doom and gloom on this, but I honestly just want to shout this from the rooftops, in a good way. But I don't want to gossip to anyone I know in person about this because you can never be 100% sure. And I also don't want it to get back to him that I've clocked all the signs. He's not great at big romance, which is perfect for me as I find it a little embarrassing. But he's tried to be so sneaky and so thoughtful as well, and I don't want to ruin this for him. A little long backstory. My partner, D, and I have been together for just over 3 years, but have known each other for 9. When we first met, at work, I was trapped in an abusive relationship and also pregnant. So obviously nothing happened physically, and he would have never tried to change that, as no one knew how bad my ex-husband was. So as far as he was concerned, I was happily starting my own family. But we instantly clicked as friends, and honestly, I think it only took me about a week to realize I was falling for him in a non-platonic way. Little did I know that D felt the same way, but he's the most oblivious person when it comes to knowing that someone likes him in that way. He later told me that had he known everything, he'd have had me out of the situation I was in and moved in with him in a heartbeat. I'm ready to raise my now 8-year-old daughter as his own. I had a complicated pregnancy towards the end, so I wasn't at work for the last few months of it. My ex made me quit my job when I should have returned after maternity leave. Me and D tried to stay in contact, but I was aware that I had inappropriate feelings for him, and I was terrified that my ex would somehow find this out and fly off the handle and hurt me. So I purposely let our communication dwindle to nothing after I knew I wouldn't be returning to work, even though it hurt. I think I gaslit myself into thinking that now that we had a baby, my ex would magically be better and would be one happy family. I put the whole thing with D down to him just being the one that got away, and I thought about him very often. He and I spoke a couple of times over the next 5 or so years, and once I learned that he was in a relationship and seemed happy, any hope I had that I could escape my abusive ex and catch D was out of the window. It felt pointless to break up the family I had for nothing. Again, I gaslit myself that it wasn't as bad as it was and put myself into the staying together for the kids no matter what mindset. I've now shaken that off completely and in no way condone staying in an abusive relationship, regardless of whether or not there are kids involved. So I continued on, was coerced into marriage I knew I didn't want, and then into having another baby, which my ex of course used to control me even more. These relationship lasted as well, and he and his now ex had 2 children and bought a house together. Happiness for myself seemed like a pipe dream at this point, and all I could do was pour all my love into my children and walk as carefully as possible around the sea of eggshells that constantly surrounded my ex. In 2022, everything changed. Out of nowhere, my ex left one random Tuesday morning, of course blaming me and saying that marriage and children were too restrictive for him. This was of course a lie. It turns out he was cheating, but he tried to secretly move in with her because he didn't want any consequences for his actions. He left me in a mountain of debt that he'd built up in my name without my knowledge. I had no way to provide solely for myself and my children, and he deliberately quit his job so he didn't have to pay any child support. He also didn't care about seeing our children, but to be honest, I was glad about that as he barely knew how to change a nappy. And I didn't want his constant anger taken out on our children with no one there to protect them. The initial shock and upset about the sudden change honestly only took about 5 hours to get over. And after that, I was actually just grateful that he wasn't there anymore. I figured out how to be self-sufficient and actually started to be proud of myself for how I parented as a newly single mother and dealt with the whole situation. I'm not gonna lie, these started playing on my mind almost immediately after my ex left. We hadn't caught up in a while and he's barely active on social media, so I had no idea what his situation was. 2 months after my ex left, he messaged me out of the blue. He'd seen that my relationship status on Facebook had changed and he was checking if I was okay. I was honest with him then about how bad the relationship had been, and he was pretty horrified. He also shared that he and his ex had split up a few months after their second child was born, because she had been financially and emotionally manipulative since their first child arrived, and after their second was born, she was on the verge of psychotic. So he made sure that she was getting the care she needed for the sake of his children, but knew he couldn't stay with her. Turns out, they'd split only a few days before my ex and I did. Dee and I agreed to meet up, and the instant connection practically slapped me in the face the minute I saw him. 5 years without seeing each other, with all those pent-up feelings, all bubbled to the surface at once in that moment. And to my shock, he seemed to be flirting with me. Things escalated from there, especially when we both admitted that we had big feelings for each other, and the attraction was almost palpable. But we did agree that our friendship was the most important thing that we didn't want to lose again, and especially with both of us having only come out of long-term relationships where children were involved. We'd keep the physical aspect of things casual for a time and see how it went. Certainly no introducing each other to our respective children, as being together or anything like that. But we both fell hard and fast for each other, and we knew that. So after a few months, we made things official. It all felt like a dream come true. It actually took me some time to adjust to how he treated me. He is of course an amazing partner, but was so used to being treated like shit that this caught me off guard. He taught me how to love myself through loving me as much as he does. He taught me to stop blaming myself for my ex's abuse. He's been, from the moment he met them, amazing with my children. They decided on their own to call him Dad after around a year because he was so present and good to all of us, and because my oldest had been on a campaign to get us married since she met him. Lol. And I can see what a wonderful dad he is to his own children, who I absolutely adore as well. I honestly couldn't believe, and still can't most of the time now, that life can be like this. That the everyday mundane can feel like an adventure, and that loving security is the best feeling in the world. We talked about how we wanted our future to look, and we knew that we wanted to get married. We also knew that we'd like to have a child of our own. But this was highly unlikely due to some of my own fertility problems. So this was more of a wish than a plan. Then just before Christmas last year, we found out that we're having a baby due this August. She is the biggest miracle, and the whole family's ecstatic and can't wait to meet our baby girl. Things are so good. It feels surreal at this point. And yes, of course, like every normal couple, we have disagreements, but they never escalate to arguments. I've never heard him shout or be truly angry. We just communicate before anything reaches breaking point and solve things together. So that brings us to today. About a year ago, Dee brought me a promise ring and had my engagement ring finger measured, just in case, at the same time. He's mysteriously gone to my mother-in-law's house today to pick up some stuff and asked me if I'd like to go for a walk later. Which is odd because we never really plan walks, we just go. He said he wants to walk around a local nature reserve, which coincidentally is where we had our first meetup 3 years ago, and also our first kiss. He also paid for me to have my nails done a few days ago, just because. Again, unusual, as normally I have my nails done a couple of times a year for my birthday and Christmas, and I'll just take myself as a gift/self-care. So there you go. Everything is adding up, and I really hope I'm not building myself up for nothing. I can't see any part of the rest of my life without this wonderful man in it. Thank you if you read this far, and sorry for the long post. I'm not really expecting anyone to read this, or care. I just needed to blurt it out somewhere. Top comment on this one says, giggling and kicking my feet for you. Please come back and update us. Opie says thank you. I've been all giggly all day, and I've been by myself, so I must look crazy. We'll definitely update. He's not coming back home for another couple of hours yet. Don't know what to do with myself in the meantime. And as you can imagine, there was just lots of support for OP, excited for OP, etc, etc. But a few hours later, OP did come back with that update. And it said, updates for the lovely kind strangers who asked me to. He did it. We're engaged. He took me down the same route that we walked down 3 years ago. And we were walking for a while, so I was beginning to wonder if I was wrong. But then he started to get all nervous, and I realized we were coming up to the bridge which looks over the water, where we stopped and had our first kiss. It just felt like a much longer walk because I'm heavily pregnant now. But we got there eventually, and he gave me a very nervous kiss and then got down on one knee, said some truly lovely things, and showed me the absolutely gorgeous ring that he picked out. I struggled to say yes just because I was hormonally sobbing by this point, but we already knew what my answer would be. I feel like the luckiest woman on the planet. And the top commenter said, just wonderful. I'm staying tuned for more developments. Pop says, same. This is such a wild ride. I'm hooked now. Hoping OP updates soon because I need closure, like it's a season finale cliffhanger. OP says I've updated. Warning, next season will involve childbirth. May not be a pleasant watch, but worth it in the end. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. And it says, my 24 female, boyfriend 30 male, keeps disappearing into the bathroom for an hour or more with a stick of butter. And the butter is gone when he finally comes out. Now, I'm going to give you a warning beforehand. This is marked as not safe for work, and there's trigger warnings on it of kinks. So, you've got your warning if you want to skip the story. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. But here we go. I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years, and we finally moved in together. Ever since we moved in, I've seen a new side of him. It's a very odd issue, and I can't wrap my head around what to do. At first, I started to notice butter was disappearing quickly. I assumed maybe I lost track of how much we had, or maybe he was cooking when I wasn't around. I don't know. But one night a few weeks ago, I saw him try to stealthily take a stick of butter from the fridge, which I pretended not to notice. He then took the butter with him into the bathroom. Now, I've noticed my boyfriend spending an hour or more of time in the bathroom since we moved in, but I never saw him take the butter before. I was so confused. When he came out of the bathroom about an hour later, I saw no sign of the butter, but I also saw he did not put the butter back in the fridge. It was gone. I tried to subtly keep an eye on him, and over a week he did this 3 separate times, and each time a stick of butter disappeared. Finally, I said one day, "Where did all of our butter go? I hardly used any this week and it's gone." He pretended to not know and said maybe we had forgot to buy it. I said no, we had 4 sticks before. Now they are gone. He just acted like it was a mystery and said, guess we should order up some groceries. By now, I was getting very confused. So I ordered groceries and made a point of saying, good to finally have 4 sticks of butter. This should last quite a while. He made no comment. On the first 2 days, whenever I used a small amount of butter, I would remark about how much butter we had left. Finally, one day I saw him do it again. He took a stick of butter into the bathroom, was gone for about an hour or so, and came back with no butter. I couldn't believe it. So when I made dinner, I acted shocked that 1 stick of butter was gone. He said maybe we only had 3, but he knew I'd been making a point of it. The very next day, another stick of butter gone. I listened at the bathroom door and heard sink water running and thought I heard moaning noises. I was so confused. Finally, this time when he came out, I said, I know he has been taking butter into the bathroom. He got all flustered and said I must be mistaken. But I said I had literally seen him take butter into the bathroom and come out without it, and that I know he has been lying to me about the quantity of butter in our fridge. He then started apologizing for misleading but said, let's just not talk about it. And when he saw I was getting mad, he said, what if I just order my own separate, private butter? I was like, okay, but what are you doing with the butter? He asked me to promise him to never ask about his butter activities again and to just put it behind us. He said, just look the other way on this one thing, and stressed how it's not a big deal at the end of the day. I was like, okay, I guess. But I've been so confused and even disturbed about it. Like, what is he doing with the butter? Why is he lying about it? Why won't he tell me? I don't even think he is eating it because he is not an overweight guy. And I feel like if somebody ate that much butter, they'd become hefty. But because he shows no sign of it, I'm just like, who is this guy? Am I overreacting? Is it just so odd I see him in a different light and I'm not sure what to do? Should I just ignore it? It's OP's confusion through this that kind of gets me, like, what is he doing with the butter? Oh, you sweet summer child. I mean, I don't know exactly what he's doing with the butter, but I definitely know he's not cooking in there with it. It just brings me back, and I've told this story a couple of times. I won't go over the full thing, but I used to do logistics for market research companies, and I have to buy multiple products. And one time I had to buy 400 tubs of butter, and people were always asking, what the hell are you doing with all this butter? And I used to make up random excuses. And one of them I used to tell people as I was having a butter slide, come on round on the weekend, we have a great time. I thought, maybe that's what this guy's doing. He's just like putting it in the tub and sliding around. Who knows? But him turning around and saying, let's just not talk about this ever again. I'm just going to keep going to the bathroom with my stick of butter and we're never going to talk about this again. Like, what the fuck? What if I just order my own private separate butter? I mean, just damn. But the majority of the comments on this were pointing towards some kind of fetish going on in the bathroom, asking OP, would it matter if he has some kind of fetish? Some people saying it would matter to them. Other people saying, it's not just about him having a fetish, a kink, whatever. But the fact that he's gaslighting OP and, she's buying multiple sticks of butter and they disappear and he's going, no, I ain't seen them. They're just vanishing. I mean, I guess they kind of are, but not the way that you expect. But OP does update the post and says, this morning I said, look, yes, you should buy private personal butter for your activities, but I said I need to know what you do with the butter. He got very quiet and then said, fine, I'll tell you just this once. And he told me everything. I was so mortified and confused. I cannot tell you what it is, but I will say it's a sensual activity, extremely sensual. It is definitely an inappropriate use of butter. I cannot even type what it is due to how graphic it is. On one hand, it's just butter, but on the other, I can no longer see him the same way. I'm staying at my parents'. To make matters worse, a friend of his found my other post and sent it to him saying, lol, this must be about you. I guess he used to do it in college too, and he is furious. And now other people I know in real life know about what he does with butter. Is angry at me for exposing his butter-based proclivities. Now I've probably ruined my relationship and everyone knows my business, causing me shame and humiliation. I can't believe what he does with butter though, and I don't think I can be with somebody who does things like that. I consider it a momentous fuck up for me to ever have confronted him about it. This is my mistake because I can never unknow what I know. Well, I'm not really sure where to go with that. I'm not sure what to say about it. I'm quite happy not knowing, to be quite honest, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Our next story is one that was cross-posted to our own subreddit r/Mark Narrations. It originally came from the entitled Parents subreddit from Luxuriant Squid, who says, entitled Mum wants to eat our wedding cake top. We're coming up on our male 28, female 28 first wedding anniversary. It falls on a Monday this year. My mum approached me recently and told me that we could cut into our wedding cake top with the whole family the day before our anniversary, because she wants to be a part of our anniversary celebration and the weekend is more convenient for everyone. I was planning to cut the cake with my wife only on our actual anniversary. The cake top is in my mum's freezer, as she has a full-size freezer in her garage and we only have a small apartment-sized half freezer. Of course, I doubt the cake will be as good as the day we had it, but it's more so for the symbolism of our anniversary. For my parents' anniversaries, we've never been a part of it. They go on trips without us and never asked us to join them, so I'm a bit frustrated at this double standard. My wife and I would not mind sharing the cake with them after our anniversary, but from talking with my mum, it sounds like she wants us to make it into a family thing. Is that even normal? My mum also caused a lot of unnecessary drama and stress surrounding our wedding last year, in that she wanted to forego hair and makeup my wife had arranged for and we covered the cost of, and would laugh condescendingly at us when we would try to express our viewpoints on why these things were important to us. She also tried to invite a bunch of people, even though she was not paying for anything. So from that experience leading up to our wedding, I learned that she lacked respect for myself as an adult, my wife, and our marriage. My wife and I thought the best way to resolve this is to perform a cake heist, as I don't want to risk giving my mum a heads up and allowing something to happen. I'm not sure if she would eat it directly out of spite, but I also wouldn't put it past her. What is everyone's thought on a cake heist? Just going over there unannounced to secure the cake. And in the comments below this one, there were stories of people where their mother-in-laws ate their cake tops. There was some that were mother-in-laws chucked them in the bin, shared it with other family members. It's absolutely awful. But yeah, absolutely, totally agree with the cake heist. Just go in there and say, I'm just here to pick up the top, grab it, leave, simple as. She's one of those mums that we see time and time again within these stories that doesn't see you as an adult. She doesn't respect you as an adult to make your own decisions and will try to walk all over you. And I'm just kind of curious as to what else your wife might be seeing from her point of view. I think it might be worth, having that discussion with your wife further about, is she feeling any particular way about mother-in-law and the way that she treats you both? But what would you do in this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Would you take that cake back? Would you do something else? What do you think about the relationship with mother-in-law? Do you think there's more to it than we're seeing right here? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.